What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling on Zoom again, and this time we are here with Tim of Genocide Pact. Great to be able to speak with you today, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's so awesome to have you here. We got the self-titled album coming out. Did you consider this just a direct continuation of Torment, Order of Torment, or every time a band puts out a self-titled album in the middle of their career and it's not their debut, to usually signify something different in a way. So, really, what was the idea behind the self-titled album?
Um, I don't think it is a continuation of Order of Torment. If anything, it was more of going back to like the beginning of the band. I'd say it's more closely related to our first record. Um, and yeah, I think Order of Torment, we kind of went in a certain direction from our first record, and on this one, I think went in a different direction from the first record. So it's almost like a different branch on the tree. I think we went with the self-titled. We just thought these songs were the most representative of the vision that we've had from the beginning. It's like there's always been a sound that we've had in our mind that we've been close to, and I think this album kind of just got the closest to that.
hmm Is there a lot more exploration to be held? Like, do you think that maybe this album could be representative of the direction Genocide Pact will go in the future?
I think this is representative of the direction we'll go in the future, but also we haven't played a lot of shows on this record yet, and something tells me that after a year or two, you start getting tired of a certain direction. So I really don't know what the fourth album would sound like. So we might do a 180, but I think there are certain things about this record, as far as arrangement, that I think will be here to stay. But we definitely don't want to do the same record twice.
Complete 180. Is the next album going to be butt rock?
It's gonna be exclusively butt rock.
Yeah, well, you got to get that Porch $1 million single going, that gentle love ballad.
Exactly. This album we were doing out of our genuine love for music, but I think the next album is gonna be just for money.
Yeah.
So
Genuine love for money.
Genuine love for money.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love money?
Also, the title of it. I don't know if I can announce that yet.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. When it comes though to like you mentioned the evolution of your sound and stuff, like did you ever like begin the songwriting process with like a preconceived idea, like let's make it sound like this, or is there a lot of improvising and trial and error involved?
Well, there is a lot of improvising, and just from like talking to other friends of ours in bands, I think we improvise a lot more than some of our peers. I think it's pretty common to have like one person that writes everything, and someone has like a whole album mapped out like on their laptop, but I think I'm pretty ADD, which is probably already apparent in this interview.
Yeah.
But so most of our writing usually stems from like me having like an idea or two, and then kind of everyone bouncing on ideas off of each other. A lot of stuff happens on the spot. Of course, we refine it and make it an actual song, but a good amount of our material, it's probably like half planned and half spontaneous. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the references we bring in are from outside of the genre. You know, like it's very rare that we're going to say, oh, we need like an obituary part,
Yeah.
or like we need a carcass part or something like that. It's like we've listened to enough obituary and carcass in our lifetimes that we don't need to like specify that.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that too, because like talking with like a lot of metal bands, like especially metal bands who are like older, like they were taking inspiration from like ZZ Top, and then they were like, oh, let's take ZZ Top riffs and play them really fast. So it's always it actually like it's more common, I think, when metal bands, regardless of how heavy they are taking outside inspiration from the genre.
Yeah, and I think that's like the other thing is like we're a rock band, I'd say. You know, like um, we just have guitars tuned to B, and I can't like sing.
That
So,
should be written in your
but
bio. That needs to be. We are a rock band. We just drop tune and don't sing.
yeah, I mean, like all of our like cues are like we all listen to a lot of Rolling Stones, a lot of Steely Dan, a lot of Jimi Hendrix, um, and we probably have more in common outside of death metal than inside of it. You know, so yeah, I think our writing process is a lot different than a lot of other extreme metal bands.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like, yeah, we take we're pretty much just a Steely Dan ripoff band, I guess.
Well, do you think
to
that
conclude that thought?
do you think that also maybe comes from being that you and everybody else in the band have also played with different bands as well? Like, do you think that maybe those outside influences also come in other projects that you've been involved with? I know that you've been involved with Condemn the Infected and a couple of other bands as well. So like,
Oh, whoa. Yeah. That was I was in that band very early on, and yeah, that was like a early death metal band I did. But what was the question again? As far
if
as
playing with like other bands, if your other members have being involved in other projects maybe helped influence this one.
well, I'd say most of our outside projects have all been more on the punk side of things. Um, so I think that's something that comes into our music subconsciously. Like we never try to write like a punk part because we have other bands for that. But I think that having all been in like grindcore and punk bands and kind of coming up in that scene is that I think we tend to write more from like a concept of like it needs to be aggressive, it needs to express like anger, it needs to be pissed, more so than like it needs to be technical.
Yeah.
Like
You try to capture a moment with each song.
yeah, um, it I just think it needs to sound pissed, and I like whatever it is. I think that we're all people that gravitate towards the energy of music rather than like the mechanics behind it. Um,
Yeah. So it's not like you're thinking of like theory or structure. It almost seems like, going back to the first question, it almost seems like that there is like, as you mentioned, a lot of improvising involved and a lot of experimentation. Your motto is if it sounds right, it's right.
yeah, pretty much, and it's kind of funny because I feel like there's kind of like two poles. There's a lot of people that like pride themselves in not being technical, where really we just kind of write based on what we think the next riff should be, and if it's tricky, it's tricky. If it's like one note, that also doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, being that like, there has been like a lot of evolution from Forge through Domination to Order of Torment to now. It almost seems like the evolution of your sound came naturally. Nothing seemed forced, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, everything about this band from the beginning has come pretty naturally. And if anything, I think we started, we didn't expect anyone to like us. And we thought it was just going to kind of be like a studio project. And then I think we kind of gave a shit for a little bit, and I think that was a little bit of a misstep. So I think just kind of writing how we did in the early days, I think was very crucial. Just having no pressure to it, making sure it's stuff that we would want to listen to. One thing we did was there was some stuff that was written back. So Connor and I, Connor's the drummer. We write most of everything together. He plays guitar and I played drums as secondary instruments. So there was some stuff where we switched instruments when we were writing. And we found that to kind of be a helpful thing because like I'm not great at drums, and like I can noodle on guitar like more than I ever would like need to for Genocide Pact. So sometimes it was like, all right, let me play an instrument that I'm like limited at, so I can like focus on writing something I would want to hear instead of writing something that's fun to play. Which I think is very easy to do in metal. There's a lot of riffs that are really fun to play. And when you come up with them, it feels like you just like, wrote the best shit ever. But it's like, maybe if you had heard that riff out of the context of coming up with it, you'd fucking hate it.
Yeah.
So
there's so many songs I know how to play on piano that I hate listening to, but they're just so much fun to play on piano. I know exactly what you mean.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's like there's certain like technical death metal bands where it's like, or like you listen to it, it's like, man, I would probably feel so fucking cool if I could play those songs. But I don't like listening to them, so I'm not gonna learn how to play.
Yeah.
And we've run into that thing, but I've definitely brought riffs to practice where like Connor's been like, what the fuck is that? But that was something we really tried to avoid on this one, and I guess there was like a global pandemic or something that happened when we were writing it, so that afforded us a little bit of extra time to kind of pick apart our arrangements. So yeah. This one was, I think it was like, it felt a lot like writing a rock and roll record.
Definitely. Do you think, the final thing I wanted to ask you is do you think that we will ever run out of riffs one day? Do you think that there's only so much you could do with the guitar, or like do you think that there is limitations, or do you think that the amount of riffs that could be incorporated is infinite?
I think we'll reach a point where the entire world will have run out of riffs except Genocide Pact. And that pretty much every other band will have to retire. Okay. And will actually be in the audience for Genocide Pact concerts, who will at that point be the only touring band. So
that's the goal. You're going to have to compete.
Probably within the next, I don't want to make predictions, but I'd say within the next 3 years.
Well, given that
everyone else will have run out of riffs, and that I'll still have plenty, but
everybody will be so excited to tour again, and then you guys come and then fuck it up even more.
Yeah, it's gonna be called the Slamdemic when everyone else just there's gonna be a pandemic of riffs.
Wow, You've come up with some pretty good one-liners, like pretty good slogans in this. You should like work for an advertising agency. I think you have some good ones.
Thank you. I'm going to use you as a reference.
Yep. I'll write your letter of recommendation. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today. Is there just anything else with Genocide Pact you'd like to promote for the release of the self-titled album in terms of can we be expecting to see you guys on the road fairly soon?
We've got we're playing New York November 20th, St. Vitus, headlining show with Undeath. We're doing 2 record release shows in DC. The first is with Ilsa, another DC death metal band that fucking rips. And second show is with Caveman Cult from Miami.
Oh hell yeah!
That's gonna be fucking on. That's one of my favorite contemporary bands, good friends of ours. Yeah, and we'll probably have some tour dates popping up in 2022, but nothing we can announce yet. We have another music video dropping in mid-November that I actually directed this one. I'm really excited about that. It's kind of like a collage of a bunch of just like fucked up like news footage and stuff like that. And spent a lot of time making that, so I'm kind of excited. It's kind of like a faster, more like almost like a grindcore song. So it's a rare a rare kind of song for us. So I'm excited for that to come out.
Yeah, and I just saw Undeath play with the Black Dahlia Murder. I've never seen an opening band just destroy a fucking venue like that. So that'll be a great show.
Oh yeah, those guys are great. One of the Tommy, their bass player, is a good friend of ours. He's actually like childhood best friends with our guitarist Demir.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah, we're really excited to play with those dudes. That's
the Death Metal
Arlington,
Kindergarten
Virginia,
reunion
on the map.
The Death Metal Elementary School reunion tour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of their teachers come out and stuff.
Oh, that would be great. Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here today, and please excuse my neighbor's fucking disgusting dog from barking up towards the end of this. But thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for being here today.
I hope you show your neighbor who's boss.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. That dog already tried to kill me 3 times. But thank you very much, everybody. We are here with Genocide Pact. Check out their self-titled album. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.